It's really not that hard to figure out the primary goal for most home buyers and home sellers. For buyers, they want to get the right house at the right time for the lowest possible price. For sellers, it's even simpler. They want to get the highest price possible in the timing that's right for them. And in order to achieve this goal, there are two essentials that must happen, but they're easy to say and very rarely done. So today I'm going to show you what they are, why they're rarely done, and why it's so difficult, and how the industry is actually set up against you in order to do it. And then I'm going to show you how to do them. My name is Michael Hausum. I'm an active real estate broker in Southern California. First got into the real estate business right out of college 35 years ago, but I started Fix My Realtor to do something totally different. Independent help for home buyers and sellers, whether or not they have a realtor, simply to help them buy better or sell smarter. So the two seemingly simple things that buyers and sellers need to do to accomplish their goal are, number one, avoid costly mistakes, and number two, take advantage of opportunities. But you notice I said seemingly simple. Those are 7 short words that you immediately understood and shook your head in agreement when I said the two things that you wanted and needed to do, right? But here's the big problem. The majority of home buyers and home sellers don't do either of them. They don't avoid the cost of the mistakes, and they don't see and take advantage of opportunities. The potential dollar amounts on the line that we are talking about here with these two things is actually massive. The average home in the country is now about $435,000, and the potential range of a home selling price is about 10% up or down. So on an average home, you can call the potential swing in purchase price about $40,000. And you can see this. Just look up any home on Zillow. Look at the Zillow estimate down at the bottom, and you will see a range of expected selling price, bottom to top, and it always ranges about 10%, sometimes more. Now, if your market is more expensive than the national average, then the potential swing is even higher. If it's an area like mine here in Orange County that's almost triple the average sales price across the country, we're talking about $100,000 potential swing in price. No matter what your market is, that is an enormous amount of money that's potentially on the table. So let me give you 2 real-life examples that have just happened recently that not only perfectly illustrate this point of why these two seemingly simple things are done, but they also are just the tip of the iceberg. These are things that I see happening every single week in real estate across the country. I've seen it for years, and quite frankly, Fix My Realtor is part of my mission to stop it. So what I've got here, this is an MLS printout from a property that I visited 3 weeks ago. It's listed by one of the very top agents by sales unit volume in all of Southern California, and this is the direct point. Now, their sales numbers, this agent, are enormous. I actually printed this off the website, but I've linked out so you can't be harder to figure out who it is, because who they are specifically isn't the point. So take a listen to this. Number 1 resale agent in Orange County for the past 5 years. $2.7 billion in lifetime sales. $275 million sold in 2024. They're doing 15 to 20 sales every single month for more than 2 decades. So this is the listing agent on this house. This is who the seller hired. And they probably think they're in good hands, right? Let me read the highlights from this printout here. This is what you would have seen in the MLS in the description of the property. Exceptionally upgraded 4-bedroom home, boasting beautiful curb appeal, a beautifully remodeled kitchen, inviting living room, stylishly upgraded newer vanities, fixtures, lighting, tile, enclosures, and appliances. A defined outdoor, beautiful entertainment space. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to own a turnkey home. That sounds amazing, right? Just incredible. Wouldn't you like to see that house? Here's the thing. The house was a total and complete dump. There was crap everywhere. The upgrades, at least 15 years old, tired, worn. None of the furniture in the house matched the pictures. No one's been in that backyard for years, let alone a gardener. And furthermore, it was an active substance abuse recovery home. Every single room in that house had multiple beds, dorm room style. There was junk everywhere. There was still a person in the house when we got there. Don't get me wrong, businesses like that are very important. But a heads up would have been nice, a text that said, hey, this is an active business location with a bunch of people living there, just FYI. That kind of heads up would have been helpful. When I was in the home, I actually pulled up my phone while standing there, checked to make sure that I wasn't in the wrong house. It was so gross that my clients couldn't wait to leave. At that point, they had already reduced the house $100,000, and there's no possible way they're still going to get the 1.3 they're asking for it. But take just a second to think about the home seller. He had hired one of the highest performing agents on earth, yet he is getting absolutely wrecked on his listing. This here is the exact dead opposite of avoiding costly mistakes. And I guarantee you, he has no idea about it. That's the worst thing about the cost of mistakes in real estate. You usually never even know that you made them, or if you do, it's way too late to do anything about it. It's not like somebody's going to send an email that says, hey, I would have paid you more, or you totally blew it, and had you fixed that thing or done something differently, your price would have been elevated. That doesn't happen. But if this seller had access to even the tiniest part of what I'm doing here at Fix My Realtor, this never would have happened. He would have been in control of his own home selling journey instead of just delegating it to a pro and then hoping that it worked out. And had he done that, and then had gone and hired this agent to sell it even, the results would have been so different, because then he would have known what should be done, what shouldn't have been done with his house. Now, here's another story. This is just a few weeks ago as well on one of my listings. It's not like I don't have to go deep into my memory banks to pull these examples up. They're basically constant. So this example is on the buy side, and rather than a costly mistake, this was about an opportunity that a buyer had to gain some advantage and get some money. They didn't capitalize on it, and it cost them $10,000. So here's the story. There was an agent representing a buyer on a listing of mine. The agent is representing a family member to buy the house. I actually looked her up. When this transaction closes, it will be her fourth transaction ever. So in the offer, they wrote a 30-day escrow, which frankly, for a vacant house, a 30-day escrow in today's day and age, it's an eternity. So in discussion and in the offers back and forth, I asked the agent if they could close faster, as my seller wanted a faster sale. That was one of his agenda items. The response was, no, we can't. We're using a lender that we've known for years, and this is the fastest that they can do it. And they said, hey, by the way, 30 days is standard escrow closing period anyway. Okay. But just so you know, there's nothing unique about the deal or the loan, right? It's a standard Fannie Mae loan, 35% down. It's something that a toddler-aged lender nowadays could close in about 12 days. So in the middle of it, my seller's kind of irked with the timing part of the offer, and we're countering and back and forth. And then ultimately he said, look, to me, I'd be okay with this longer escrow, but I want 10 grand for the extra 2 weeks. If they want the extra time, they can have it, but they're paying. The buyer ended up accepting that. It's not like we gave them that option. We just said, okay, here's the counter. And mentally, we knew we would have taken 10 grand less, but they needed the extra 2 weeks. So let's review the whole thing quickly. This buyer is using a family member as their agent, and that agent has no experience. And then a family friend lender who's basically performing like it's 1982 when their fax machine is busted. On the other hand, this agent had made a quick call to me about timing in advance to find out what was important to the seller, and then actually used a rock star lender that could have been aggressive. That would have been $10,000 right there. And my seller was totally willing to do it. And I get it. I totally understand that you might need to work with a relative as your agent, a lifetime of Thanksgivings and Christmases. That could be awkward and uncomfortable. But the buyer here, they're trusting somebody to guide them that has no idea how to operate at an expert level. And they, of course, themselves didn't know what should have been done or how to do it. So it cost them $10,000. Brutal. That's what I think. Quite frankly, the things that it would have taken for that 10 grand for a different result, not that complicated or difficult, not rocket science here, they just weren't done. Unfortunately, this happens all the time, and it's because the real estate industry itself isn't set up to do anything about circumstances like this. Things like this is not the focus, right? In fact, the real estate industry is totally broken. That is my opinion. The focus is on getting signatures from clients on contracts and getting quick commission dollars. That's it. They're not doing strategies and tactics to get the best results for their client. That's not on the agenda. Frankly, if you were to look at my inbox right here on my desk on my computer, I'm getting emails and I get text messages every single day from trainers and coaches and brokerages trying to recruit me. And every one of them is talking about lead generation, lead generation, lead generation, client acquisition, getting new clients. That's you. The focus is on getting business from you, not doing business right for you. I have yet to receive an email or a message talking about helping buyers pay less for homes or helping sellers get more for homes. The real estate industry might say that it's interested in those things, but the actual efforts, 100% of the efforts that they make, it's just about getting your autograph on paperwork and getting your commission dollars wired. My guess is that you see this and you know this because it's not something that's really hidden, right? That's why when they do those national polls of the least respected professions across the country, realtors are always included in those. Real estate agents, used car salesmen, politicians, and lawyers, it's all kind of the same thing. I actually saw an Instagram reel last night where a realtor was asking for advice to his followers on what to say when people ask him what he does for a living. Because his feeling is that people generally don't like and trust realtors. And he's right. And it's for good reason. Watch one of the real estate shows on TV, right? Netflix or Bravo, whatever. You see the gorgeous agent, you see the killer house that they're showing. What pops up on the screen after that? Potential commission. It's about their money, not your money. It certainly doesn't show up on the screen, help the buyer save X dollars or help the seller get Y dollars. And then you layer in the fact to this that 70% of agents across the country do 5 sales or fewer a year. They're basically part-timers. And all of that works out to be a perfect storm. People can feel it. They know it. The real estate industry is broken. So what do you do? Great. What do you do about that? To get your ideal outcome, you need to avoid the mistakes, capitalize on opportunities. But the traditional way of going about doing those things on a traditional real estate deal, it's just not cutting it. Hiring an agent, trusting them, and hoping the results are great, it's not going to work anymore. The answer to this dilemma, it's short and simple. You need to control your own real estate journey. That's it. whether you hire a realtor or not, whether you hire Southern California's #1 real estate agent, or your aunt, or your college roommate, or your wife's friend from the mom's group, or even if you do find one of those rare agents whose business is actually focused on getting optimal results and they're great at it, even if you find one of those, no matter what, the answer is still the same. You need control. You need to know how a house should be bought or sold at a pro level and be in control of your entire journey so that you can be sure that the right things are being done, so that you can see and avoid the costly mistakes and you can discover the opportunities for wins. That's how you do it. Great. So how do you do that? How do you take control? So there's two things that you need in order to take control and do that. And then there's actually a third optional thing. First thing is you need a framework or a system or a process for your entire journey. I want you to think about it like a map. You're here and you want to get here. In fact, let me write this down. You are here and you want to get here, right? So you're here now and you either want to get a house, that's a house if you're buying, or you want to get money when you sell your house. You want to get from here to here. That's your journey. And you need a map that lines out everything that you need to do so that you get the money if you're selling or you get the right house at the right price. The problem is, and this is why this map is going to be so helpful, is that along this journey, you've got landmines. These landmines are peppering the path between where you are now and where you want to go. And these landmines, they're invisible. You step on them, they explode, and you just don't know it. So what ends up happening there is you just end up losing money. The price goes up for the buyers, like in my example earlier for the 10 grand, or the sales price comes down like the other example. So you've got money going down or the home price going up. So your money, you get less of it as a seller, or the home price goes up. You have to pay more. That's what happens. The correct map, the correct process, the correct framework identifies where all of these landmines are. It tells you what to do every step of the way and when to do it so that you can avoid them. We put little black circles around those. So you avoid them. You cross out these landmines because now you know where they are and how to avoid them. And you stop losing money from your sale price or you gain money as a buyer. So that's the first part, avoiding these mistakes. That's why you need the framework or the map or the system. The other half of it, the second part, is to recognize and then seize opportunities. Because it's not about just not losing money. You also want to uncover the chances to make money. And here's the way you do that. You need a recipe with ingredients to buy or sell. And those ingredients have to be unique and powerful and focused on delivering the results and the outcome you want. If the framework and the map is what to do and when to do it, the recipe explains how to do it. So on the buyer side, the recipe needs to include what you should be doing before you start the journey, as you begin it, all the way through to the close. Things like the financing and understanding the contract and picking the right real estate agent if you're going to use one. How do you get a lender that will be an actual tool to give you leverage and help? And then once the journey starts, how to evaluate the marketplace and pricing and plan your timing. And then, of course, you need the effective ingredients at the end of the journey. How to write the right offer, strategies within the offer itself, and how to present the offer. And presenting the offer, for example, it's my favorite recipe ingredient. So my recipe ingredients for home buyers, there's 6 ingredients. And one of them is to present your offer in person. Don't just email it like the standard average way that it's done nowadays. On the seller side, you also need a recipe that covers each step of your journey. My seller recipe has 8 ingredients. And just like with the buyer side, it covers what you do before the journey starts, once it begins, along the middle, and then at the close. And just like with the buyer side, my favorite recipe on the selling side includes requiring offers on your listing to be made in person. It's a genius recipe ingredient that will make you money. So what happens then is that if you've got the correct recipe with the correct ingredients, it helps you pick the right path through all the landmines when you need to turn left, right, straight, or whatever. Because it's not just avoiding the landmines. You need to know where you're turning as the shortcut. What's the best way through it? And that is using a recipe with the correct ingredients. So that's how you do it. And then I mentioned that there's a third option as well, right? The first two are absolutely essential. The third one is another option, and that is to have a guide, someone to walk with you on that journey and to show you the way. Of course, there's some people that are going to want to do the journey alone, right? Figure it out and do it. Take the info here on the Fix My Realtor YouTube channel and any other ideas that they get and go from here to here, solo trek, right? Absolutely an alternative. But some people are going to want more help than that. They're going to want a Sherpa to help them on that journey to do all of those things. And it's not about hiring a realtor. In fact, you might want somebody to help you hire a realtor. The point of getting help on doing this yourself isn't just hiring a realtor and then turning everything over to them, but somebody that's on your team to guide and assist you from start to finish. It's what I'm doing here at Fix My Realtor. I've helped numerous people all across the country take control of their own real estate journey so they know how to buy or sell like a pro. If you want to know how to buy the right house at the right time for the lowest possible price, or to sell your home at the highest possible price in the timing that's right for you, and you happen to also think that the real estate industry is broken and you want to control your own journey, then I do have 3 different options for you. At the end of this video here, there's a link to fixmyrealtor.com. You can also click right here over my shoulder if you're watching this on YouTube. Click on that. That will take you to fixmyrealtor.com. And there's 3 levels of help there. The first is the Buyer and Seller Advantage Program. That's the full service help. It's a how-to manual, shortcut lessons, all of the information, the what, the when, the how, and the why, all of that, plus active coaching and mentoring throughout the entirety of your journey. It's all the information and active help along the way. The second level of help below that is a free weekly workshop that I do that dives much deeper into the what, when, and how for buying and selling that is on this video. That's on fixmyrealtor.com website as well. And then the third option is you're going to find at fixmyrealtor.com a quick, free real estate readiness assessment. It's a short quiz, a few quick questions that'll give you a report card on the 4 main areas of buying or selling a home. And then you'll find out your level of readiness for buying or selling a house like a pro. And you'll immediately know where you stand. By the way, if you do take the readiness assessment, most people fail this. So click on the link above my shoulder. At the end of the video here, there's a link that'll take you straight there. Evaluate which of these 3 options is the most interesting to you. If you have questions, you can also DM me on Instagram at fixmyrealtor.com. There's a way to ask me questions. Then the next video that's coming up after this, it's specifically about that readiness assessment quiz that I was mentioning and how it can be helpful to you. Thanks for watching.